That's 800-800-1414. With laser-measured floor liners and cargo liners, Buck Step plus the cup foam to secure your phone, seat protectors, or no-drill mud flaps. WeatherTech's American-made products are perfect protection for any season. Order at WeatherTech.com. WeatherTech, made right in America.
You ever considered getting a walk-in tub? Well, look no further. A SafeStep walk-in tub is the best in its class. The ultra-low, easy step helps keep you safe from having to climb over those high-walled tubs, allowing you to age gracefully in the home you love. And when you call today, you'll receive a free shower package and a free spa sound speaker, plus $1,500 off. Now enjoy the best of both worlds. The therapeutic benefits of a warm, soothing bath that can help increase mobility, relieve pain, boost energy, and even improve sleep. Or, if you prefer, you can take a refreshing shower, all in one product. Call now to receive our best offer of the year, a free shower package and a free spa sound Bluetooth speaker, plus $1,500 off for the purchase of your brand new SafeStep walk-in tub.
Call today, 1-800-960-5553.
As I was aging, the pain in my hips was getting worse and worse.
I ordered Relief Factor for pain I was having in my neck and my knees. I am so glad that I ordered Relief Factor. I have found relief.
I am pain-free. I love it.
I am now pain-free. Thank you, Relief Factor.
Friends, it's very rewarding to hear all the wonderful Relief Factor success stories. Sebastian Gorka again. Let me ask you.
Sebastian Gorka.
Keeping you from sleeping through the night, or keeping you
or
from
keeping
taking those nice long walks, or playing golf or tennis. It's no fun if you can't get around comfortably. The 3-week quick start from Relief Factor.
We know that because not only did Tadasha say that, but there's ample corroborating evidence, which we've gone through in our brief, but that starts with Djokar's own statement to his friend that Tamerlan committed these murders and committed them as an act of jihad. He would not have said that. It's about a minor role. We know that Tamerlan was the one to review just a few weeks before the murders the extremist teachings of Anwar al-Awlaki, advocating.
Hello, Stephen. Look at Wayne Gretzky's awful dye job.
There's no reason for the New York Rangers to be so wide apart there and pop them through the middle of the ice and really nobody there because their attention and their eyesight is on Alex Ovechkin. And that's what he does. He doesn't score every power play, but he's a big part of each and every power play.
Can't look like a heathen.
You have to account for it for sure. It's their bad play, regardless of who it is, to shoot the puck, and that's what Schultz was able to do, and he redirects from about 30 feet out. We saw that great look, the replay there off the stick, and it was a bad jab, and Capitals do capitalize again on the advantage.
Well, you know, you spent some time with Alex Ovechkin. What are those conversations like?
You know what? He's a really tremendous young man, and he loves to play the game. I always tell him I enjoy being around because I love the fact that he lets me love I'm proud of him to be a Russian. I'm proud that he works to learn how to sport in Russia and in North America. You just got a big part in his momentum. And right now, obviously, Washington's got a lot of momentum going for them. You get a power play goal like they did to make it 2-0. New York Rangers are clearly number 2 from hockey.
This is Wayne Gretzky, man. He looks weird. I love Wayne, too.
Hendricks up here with his first National Hockey League goal, so he's only 893 behind Wayne.
Well, it's a stretch for the young man.
Capitals scored 2 goals in 24 seconds. LaPierre, his first in the NHL, and how about Wayne Gretzky's first
NHL goal back in October of 1979. There it is.
Scott works his ass off. Scott works his ass off, dude. He's made that thing work for him. You know, Scott made a lot of money. Hey, man, more power to him. He doesn't have to answer to anybody. No one's going to pull the plug on him anymore. No, kudos. Hey, I'm trying to do that. Honestly, he's worked hard, man. It's a struggle to get advertisers. Trust me. You know, finances today, like, you know, compared to what we were all doing when we were at the Mighty 1090 are nowhere for, I'm sure even Darren. Darren's got to do a couple shows. He's on a station. No one can hear him. You know, they during 01 shares. That's terrible for Darren. Darren was doing 13, 14 shares at 1090. There's no way he's making the money. Scott's putting it all together. No, working hard, man. Working hard at it, dude. Trying to work hard at it, Steven. My name ain't Chaz, dickhead. Oh, man. You know what? She's better, man. But, you know, my wife has never been as sick as she is. And it kind of worked. Yeah, I know. You know, my aunt's like, don't worry about it. You know, she's going to be back up on her feet again and this and that. But my wife in my 33 years knowing her, I have never seen her sick like that. Oh, no, I got him. I love, there's another one too. By the way, Chris, I have a favor to ask. It may be easier. It may be easier to kill somebody than to ask you what I'm going to. Is it possible anyway to pull a couple of the Hooters live reads? Just a couple of them. Oh my God, that would be gargantuan. I know you do. Because I got to send them off to Hooters. Because it's time to re-up. Yeah, they here. This is what they want me to do tomorrow. This is what I got to do. And Allie. Oh, I don't know. No, this is what she said. If I wanted to see if we had any updated information on listenership, response to social media, i.e. number of followers, Twitter reactions, posts, any samples that you could send to me on copy points, tweets, and so on. So all I'm going to send her is a couple of live reads. Or what I could do, I could probably tape them because they're the same. No, okay. Yeah. I get it. So why don't we just do this? Why don't we just do a couple of them? Yeah. 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 Hold on, let's see here. amazing. And I say this to you, and how we start our show off, I'm learning everything and seeing things that I've never seen before in my profession. Respected people in the media are changing our voices, our thoughts, manipulating other people's words so that it fits their narrative on how you should live your life. You're probably out there going, what the hell is he talking about? So I'm reading a story out of the New York Post tonight. Katie Couric, a well-respected journalist, right? Just whatever you think of her. Recent book just came out that she's admitted, and by the way, they've got now footage of the raw video. And one of the last interviews that Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Supreme Court Justice Ginsburg, gave to Katie Couric. Katie Couric asked her a question about the Colin Kaepernick kneeling and protesting the flag. Same stuff that villainized Drew Brees. And this was Katie Couric's response on why she edited out RBG's comments. And for the record, she was completely against anybody kneeling and disrespecting the flag. Completely against Colin Kaepernick. Said that this country, and I'm paraphrasing here, this country has given people so many fabulous things and great opportunities. Is she perfect? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But it's a place of opportunity. It's a place where, like no other place in the world, where you can actually, with hard work, perseverance, many obstacles, but still you can reach your goal and your dreams. Really, it's the only country on the planet that can be said for. They can give you a yellow brick road to your goals. This country is what this country set up for. So she decided to edit out her response so that it would fit the way she sees how you should live your life. A media person, again, I'm not a journalist. Don't ever call me that disgusting word. Don't ever call me. Journalism is Walter Cronkite, Edwin R. Murrow, guys like that. Okay? She edited Ruth Bader Ginsburg, a sitting United States Supreme Court's own words, out of an interview so that it fit her narrative on how you would perceive her as being on your side, that, hey, protesting is good. But when Ruth Bader Ginsburg actually said was, no, there are certain things that should be held sacred in this country, and the flag should be one of them. She didn't like it, so she decided that that wasn't something you should hear. Where do these media people have the onions to do something like that? That just makes me know now I don't believe even more of the things that you're putting out when it comes to the media. You could take an honest, heartfelt answer. And by the way, you know Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She is one of the absolute champions for minorities, for underprivileged people. She's a champion like Thurgood Marshall was. You may not have liked her and her thoughts, but get this. Guess who she had lunch with every day when he was alive? Antonin Scalia. Those two would ping pong back and forth, but they had great respect for one another. Completely different on the seesaw of ideology, but they still were able to go back and forth and have respect for one another. That is a lost art. Sometimes the most simplest things on the planet can be the most hardest things to obtain. That is really, I mean, you know, some of you may go, Sills, what's the big deal? The big deal is everything you're hearing and seeing, no matter even if a person is giving you an honest answer. These news sources now, have gone to the extreme where they're even taking our own words and the people we revere and twisting them. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, a United States Supreme Court justice, was against Colin Kaepernick taking a knee. But Katie Couric didn't think you should hear that. Dan Rather, remember him? Dan Rather was the guy that suggested the reason Jordan's father was murdered was because why? Jordan gambled. No evidence ever came of that. It was a random murder in North Carolina when Jordan's father was murdered. He just threw that out there. From that moment on, I never had respect for Rather after that. How could you say that about Jordan without having any evidence of that? Okay? How in the world could you take anyone serious that just throws, and Jordan's father had just been murdered the day before when Rather said that. So now you got Katie Couric taking a U.S. Supreme Court justice's words and twisting them so that it would sound more liberal and even more liberal, where she's one of the greatest, however you look at her in her work, she's one of the greatest Supreme Court justices when it comes to fighting for rights in the history of the court. She sat on that bench with great pride. And Katie Couric decided to poison a little bit, just a little bit of what she stood for. You're taking people's stances and their beliefs and you're conforming them to your own so that it will go to your people that you're trying to reach. Because you know what she didn't want to do? She didn't want to fuel the Trump side. Because remember what Trump was doing? Trump was talking poorly on Colin Kaepernick and taking a knee. Said that anybody that was taking a knee should be fired. Remember he said that? Katie didn't want to have a soundbite from her with Ruth Bader Ginsburg that the Trump people could use. It wasn't about right and wrong. It was about their side not giving you anything. That is so un-American. I saw that. I read the story and I tweeted that out. I said, I have no respect for this woman. It has now become propaganda for two parties, Democrats and Republicans. By the way, here, just so you know, hang on here, everybody. I watched Tucker Carlson tonight a little bit. Besides, now I'm on watching hockey, Rangers and Capitals. But you know what I did? I watched. This guy will make you think that the world's coming to an end tomorrow morning. I was like, Jesus, man, do you have anything positive to say about our country or anybody? Have anything positive to say? I know you don't like the direction that it's going. That's one thing. But you know what, man? There should be a priority for every news source, and I'm talking radio and television. Man, you gotta have at least a positive story somewhere. That's why sports is so great. They're twisting sports now, though. You see, they can't fight what they're seeing on Saturdays and Sundays with these mask mandates. They can't fight it. Places are packed. Arenas are filled. Nobody's wearing masks. I'm looking at nobody's wearing a mask right now in this Capitals-Washington game or this Capitals and Ranger game. Nobody's wearing it. Mask mandates. You know what's funny? We don't have enough food on the shelf because you know why? We don't have enough employees because people are being fired because they won't wear a mask. Then you wonder why Americans this coming holiday season are going to be struggling. Guy comes out and says, well, the Port of LA will be open and we'll make sure it's working 24 hours. That's not the problem, Joe. That's not the problem. You know what the problem is? Employees. Jesus criminy, man. Honest to God, Katie Couric took Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who I'm telling you, two of my favorite justices, okay? Two of my favorite justices, Thurgood Marshall and Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And I do like some of Antonin Scalia's stuff. I wish we could have a justice with all three of those ideologies in one. You know what I mean? That's kind of how Chris and I think. Hey, I don't believe in everything you think, but I tell you what, we'll try to form something where we can meet 75% of the way. How's that? Fair enough, Joe. Fair enough, Chris. I'm okay with that. I've said this before to people. That's why Clinton was a tremendous president in his second term. He knew he couldn't get everything, and he pissed off many liberals. But you know what he did? He knew he needed the Republicans on the other side after the way the House and Senate went, so he became more of a moderate. That's how he got things pushed across the table. That's a thinker. People covering us today, folks. Wow. Katie Couric took Colin Kaepernick and bastardized the whole thing. Well, Ruth Bader Ginsburg's wrong. Basically, what she's saying is she went like this. Well, you're wrong on this, Ruth. So I'm not going to let anyone know what you said on this, because you know what her comment was? Because I'm protecting her. You think you have to protect somebody like Ruth Bader Ginsburg? Somebody who has been a social justice champion her entire life? You really? Or is that just a lame cop-out? I think that's a lame-ass cop-out. Wow. Man. Something clearly wrong with our media today. I don't know what and where it went. What happened? You know what we do? How many times have you heard people like Ice Cube on our show, and then you heard Herschel Walker on our show? Okay? I let people talk and give their views all the time. I do that all the time. Because, hey, just because I think this way doesn't make it right. But when you're a media person like Katie Couric, she thinks she's right. And you're wrong. Even a U.S. Supreme Court justice she thinks is wrong. Congratulations. Welcome to the new America. Welcome to the new America and how the media sees our country today. More news on John Gruden and these awful emails and accountability. Where is it for the Washington team? We'll hit on it next. You keep it here on the Dan Sileo Show. You see, on the Supreme Court, we know this. Okay, there is none of that, because what happens is, there's only really one person on the Supreme Court, and that's me. There's no packing of the court. Bro. I'm like, why would she even admit that in a book? Yep. She has been bitter since she lost that gig on CBS. That's a fact, dog. Man, I'm like, not you too. Oh my God, that's a great point, Chris. How many stories have you cooked? That's right. During your career, that's right, man. Like how about this, Chris? Like how respectable is your work now? Don't you do put everything, because wasn't she the managing editor also of CBS News? Once you get that job, aren't you like the managing editor also? Because I know Rather was. And so was Cronkite. He was, and what happened to him at the end was the election thing completely effed him. The Bush thing ended him for Rather. I actually go and watch those interviews that he does now. Those one-on interviews. He did a great one with Robert Plant. Like watching him, like, I was like, man, it was the show of hate. Like, man, don't you have anything good to say? They're not. Of course they're not. Oh, yes. Let me get it. Yep. Dan Sileo, USA Radio Network. Thanks for coming aboard with us here. By the way, if you're on any of our social media platforms, we welcome you aboard with us on our Twitter page at Dan Sileo Show, Twitch, and our YouTube channel. Thank you for stepping in with us, as you do each and every single night. We appreciate it. Yeah, man. I mean, my guy Chris O just brought a spectacular point up on Couric now. How much of her work do you look at now when she's covering serious news stories, and when she was on the desk of the CBS Evening News? You are the managing editor. So all the stories that are put and presented for the nightly news, she was the person that had to get thumbs up or thumbs down on. How much of those stories were cooked? You put your entire resume of work really in jeopardy. How people see you and perceive you. And I said something about Dan Rather in the opening block. I'll tell you this. I think Dan Rather is one of the greatest interviewers of all time. Dan Rather could do a great interview. He asks really good questions, and sometimes he'll even be as provocative as anybody. Howard Stern does sensational. Howard, the only thing that I really believe that Howard does a lot of prep on and a lot of work on are his interviews. I heard him doing an interview with Roger Waters from Pink Floyd a couple of years ago. It was unbelievable. I listened to the interview with Paul McCartney. It was unbelievable. Lady Gaga, he does so much homework and goes into the backgrounds of these people at the beginning and then in the middle and then in the end, ups and downs, things that people did. I like interviews when I learn something. How many times do you tune on a show or you see an interview and it's the same old mundane stuff that you keep asking people? Like, the stuff that Fox does with Trump, they ask him the same questions. Joe Biden, America, it's the same stuff. There's nothing compelling about it. Trump's compelling because he makes it compelling. And I'm not talking whether you like him or not. I'm talking about he's compelling. There's a reason CNN's numbers are through the toilet. The Food Channel beat them a couple nights ago. I'm not kidding. In ratings for their top show. SpongeBob, Chris O just said. Chris is serious too. I didn't realize that. SpongeBob beats CNN now. Wow. Chris goes, everybody heard me. Wow. SpongeBob SquarePants beats CNN now. That's why they're rekindling these Trump stories. It's not working. Okay? Because you don't have anybody doing any compelling journalism. I told you, journalism's dead. Do a story, man, on the wall or no wall. Do a story on the border. Do a story on vaccinations. Don't pick a side. Just do a story. People are more attracted to being able to make their own minds up. Do you know that? Do you agree with me? If you do a story where people can make their own mind up, you'll have more people attracted to you. Hey, don't forget, this goes out to my great friends in the Valley and the Phoenix area. Local Valley Hooters, man. How about those Arizona Cardinals, man? They're undefeated. Kyler Murray is your guy right now to be in line to be a MVP. $3 Michelob Ultra Drafts. I mean, look, the food specials they have. UFC night. Fantasy football. This is your one-stop place. Make sure you get on down to any of the Phoenix area Valley Hooters and tell them that your boy Silio sent you. More on John Gruden and this fallout on him being fired from the Raiders. We'll do it next. Man. So SpongeBob beat him in ratings? Wow. How do you show up to work on Monday and go, hey guys, we're doing a good job? I think what happens after a while, you have to think that you're more of a PBS channel where you're public service and you just feel you're doing your due. It's from what I understand, it's the lowest ratings in the history of CNN. What's that guy's name? Huh. It's a good take, dude. That's a good take. People want their own beliefs to be confirmed, so they listen to people talk about their beliefs. That's great. Yeah. No, but that's exactly it. So the networks you're saying are feeding into that algorithm. No. No way. Cared about ratings. Yeah, but she's on the website. She's on the website now. She's not even got a show, right? Yeah, she's not on that primetime schedule. No, it does. You're right. That website does now have legs. I may have seen her on Weekends, Chris, a couple times. No, show. No. That's right, because yeah, right, because 9/11 is a non-political event. And fear. Yep. Dan Sileo, USA Radio Network. We thank you for coming aboard with us. Stephen, Ken, all of my social media platforms, you on our great affiliates around the country. Thank you so much. Man, journalistic integrity. I'm not sure what that is and what that definition is any longer. Whew. Do we really manipulate stories? You see, I have done this my whole career because, as I told you, I'm a talk show host with an opinion. I'm like an op-ed guy on the air, okay? If I see something, I'm going to give you an opinion on it. People that parade around our country, or people that are, say, at the, like that White House briefing every day has turned into a freak show. It's made, how many people prior to Trump, outside of Helen Hayes, you know, the old lady that used to sit in the front there and she'd get the first question? She was with the AP. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, she was in the White House since Kennedy. And she was a favorite of JFK's. And he always went to her first. And it became a trend since JFK. She's since passed on, but that's the only person I ever remember. Helen Thomas, excuse me. Forgive me for doing that. That's right. Helen Thomas was the favorite of JFK's. I never knew anybody. Now you have all these guys and gals that are at these White House briefings making these political statements before they ask a question. You know, I'll tell you something. The great people that do the interviews ask 15-second questions. They don't go into soliloquies before they get to their question. Like, how many times have you heard this? Look, as we all know, Mr. President, or Jen Psaki, we all know right now that this country's not really in a good place right now financially. And we really know why, because of the previous administration, how they set up all these standards when it came to tax breaks for the rich. What is the White House doing to eradicate that, to try to get us back on course again? That's not a question. That's not a question. That's not journalism. That's a different form of journalism. Right, it's a leading question. I do that. I lead my guest where I want them to go when I ask a question. I'm a professional at that. I have done that for 33 years, but I'm a talk show host. I'm not sitting here in front of the President of the United States or the press secretary getting ready to ask him a question about the economy in the United States and the president's accountability for what's happening over in Afghanistan, people's lives. I'm not asking that stuff. Those are loaded and leading questions. It's not journalism, guys. Yeah. Correct. I mean, my friend, again, I have so many friends in the business. Craig Carton was put on a show in Boston. By the way, he even worked for the same company. And he was put on a show, WEEI in Boston. And all of a sudden, they started asking him, and they went into a direction because guess what he was doing? He has become like a person that's trying to help people that are addicted to gambling, because this is one of the things that he went to jail for. And he went to actually spend time at Rikers Island. I mean, he was in jail for 18 months. And I'm friends with the guy. He's afternoon drive host now at FAN. He's doing great. I'm so happy for him. He goes on the station. They start saying this. Hey, man, was your wife sending any nude pictures of herself while you were in the can? And Craig's like this. No. Did any of the fellas in the jail did you become sexually? I mean, it just went. Yeah, and they were just, and Craig goes like this. So he texts me, and then he called me, and he goes, Sills, man. I go, bro, the people who you thought were your friends, tell me that you haven't cut that down to 5%. He goes, totally, man. I said, yeah, because when you're down, you're going to have people throw shots at you because you know why? They were never your friends. They just wanted to kind of hitch their wagon to you. It is. I mean, you're talking about a guy who was away from his 2 daughters, his wife, and he effed up. Nobody's giving him a pass or a hall pass for what he did. Carton messed up, man. So what? I mean, you know what? He's trying to get his life back on the right path again. He is. Once again, I didn't have any questions about his character. He just made a mistake. He had a speed bump in his life, and we all have had them in our lives. More power to him. It was just a hit job. Don't lie. Don't lie. When someone asks you a question on the things that you have said or the things that you have written, don't lie, because from what I'm understanding now, a lot of this stuff is a lot of the emails that he has written. And by the way, I'm going to tell you guys a story right now, and I want you to listen to this. I went back in my emails, and I've got about 100 of them with all the parties that were mentioned in the New York Times article. Nick Reeder, some of them I've posted on my Twitter. I was offered a stake in PDQ, Pretty Damn Quick Chicken. That's a franchise that Chris Sullivan and Bob Bashan started once they got their buyout money for selling Outback Steakhouse. They both were stroked $500 million checks. The two guys that John Gruden is friends with are worth $500 million apiece. Nick Reeder is worth now probably in excess of $100 million. It's called MVP Properties. I worked for them. I was a spokesperson for Leroy Selman Steakhouse. They started it. Remember P.F. Chang's? Let's see. Fleming's. Carrabba's. All under the umbrella. You know who ended up buying Outback Steakhouse and all these companies? Mitt Romney. I've got emails with Mitt Romney on it. Not talking vile. I won't say that. But I went back and looked at some of these emails and some of the language. I did a commercial spot for Pro Flowers. Guys were goofing around, saying something. Now, I have the confidence of these men. I would never in a million years release these emails with that language on them. This was back in 2010, before even the New York Times is reporting the 2011 conversations that John was having. I got emails that go back to 2007. I was in Tampa for 15 years. From 1998 to like 2012 or something. Maybe 97 to 2013 or 12. I was in the Bay Area. All these guys became my friends. I call them the Tampa Mafia. So all these guys, they talked in this locker room type behavior. Hey, am I condoning it? No, I'm just telling you a story here. But I'll tell you this about these guys. I stand up for them. Okay? Bob Bashan and Chris Sullivan are community activists and do great things for the community. Constantly donating money. Ed Drosky, the owner of Hooters, has built a wing at the Shands Hospital in Gainesville. He built a radiation center there with his money. He has donated so much money to the community over the years. And lovingly helps everyone out. This guy's talked a little. And by the way, I believe John Gruden has been ambushed by the league. Again, this is not I'm not tolerating in any way whatsoever. I am not tolerating the language that they use, but they were ambushed. Don't you find it funny? Remember I told you this about ESPN. I told you this story that John Gruden and Bruce Allen were giving ESPN stories. You know Adam Schefter, the guy with the phone on his ear? Adam Schefter, in emails that were uncovered by the Los Angeles Times, the emails that were corresponding between Bruce Allen, the then president of the Washington team, John Gruden on a private email server, and Adam Schefter on ESPN's own email, he sent him a story. Bruce, do any changes need to be made? Can you edit my story for me? Bruce edited ESPN's story on the NFL lockout and also relocation. My problem with that is this. Do we all do it? Do we all try to get access to people? Absolutely. How do you think some of these people get access to the President of the United States? What, because they're good journalists? Or because they kiss his ass? And that's Trump and Biden. Why do you think he only does CNN, MSNBC? He ain't doing sit-downs with Fox. Fox would crucify the guy. You notice that Trump stopped doing CNN stuff? That's what this is all about. It's accessibility. But my problem would be this with the NFL. So wait a minute here. What about all the league meetings and owners' meetings that you guys had closed doors that you didn't want anybody knowing some of the direction that the league was going in? You had Bruce Allen, the president of the Washington Redskins at the time, going around telling John Gruden, and then Gruden passing it off to Adam Schefter, and Adam Schefter going on the air ahead of the owners' decisions. There's no way the owners in the NFL knew that the source and the leak was John Gruden and Bruce Allen until now. That's why the National Football League came out today and said this: we're not releasing any more emails. Why? Because what happened is you don't want to really uncover Daniel Snyder's ugliness. Chris O sends me a story, and I knew this story from a year ago, 2 years ago, actually. I mentioned it the other night. Washington was sending down cheerleaders, and they were doing nude shoots. And guess who was around them? Representatives from FedEx, Papa John's, all the major advertisers that advertise with the Washington team and the National Football League. All these girls who were Washington cheerleaders, hired by Daniel Snyder. You know what Snyder said? I don't remember. You know what Daniel Snyder and how he's getting away with this? Ask me how. I'll tell you how. Daniel Snyder doesn't have email, nor does he use it. What a brilliant move. He doesn't have an email address. Daniel Snyder does not use email. He never has. Anybody, that's why people are on the internet going, where's Daniel Snyder's emails? He doesn't use it. He doesn't have one. He's never had one. I think it's a stroke of genius. Right? All right. Hey, do me a favor, folks. Check out our friends at podcasterwarehouse.com. Headphones, earbuds, look, microphones, anything you need. Processors. We have it for you. Gamers, what a great website. 25% off of everything that's on the website. Use the promo code Sileo. S as in Sam, I-L-E-O. That's Sileo. S as in Sam, I-L-E-O. Shipping is free. You can spend as much as $5 or $5,000. Podcasterwarehouse.com. More on this Gruden story. I got another tidbit for you. Baker Mayfield. Next couple weeks is going to be an enormous stretch of games for him. I'll tell you why. We'll do it next. Yeah, it was nice. It was a nice lead-in. Wow. Who said you did a great job? Bank. Hey, wait a minute. LA Times. Here's an LA Times story. Ready? Just popped up. John Gruden emails were part of June court filing by Washington football team Daniel Snyder. That's right, because he had to file for full ownership because he was buying out the minority shareholders. And these emails popped up. Money. Yeah, Bruce Allen's nickname was Mr. Editor for ESPN. It is. Oh my God! What? Dude, nobody else. Why? This wasn't even an investigation into John Gruden. It was an investigation into Washington. How did John Gruden get caught in this? He had nothing to do with the investigation. This is an axe by the league. Right? Why? I think it's about the Raiders, though. Correct. And the way they got the team to Vegas. It's right. It was, wasn't it? Can't be the Raiders then. Gruden's name is redacted in most of the emails filed in court, replaced by ESPN personality. Get this, man. He was employed by the network as the Monday Night Football analyst, joining the Raiders in 2018. How about this one? The emails are identical, and some of these reported by the New York Times this week. A day earlier, the Wall Street Journal, Gruden used a rapist trope in another email exchange. Wow. You know, this John Gruden story just doesn't really make sense. Dan Sileo, USA Radio Network. Think about it for a minute here. What's in it for the league to get John out of the league? By the way, Mark Davis came out, and you want to know something? I text Mark Davis. Mark Davis feels ambushed. I text back and forth with Mark Davis today. He feels ambushed. Said, ask the NFL, they know better. So the National Football League on Friday and the other day didn't go to the Raiders first with the emails. They went to the New York Times and the LA Times. Think about that. One of your business partners. How would you feel if you were in business? You had 32 partners in a fast food chain. Okay? And the group decided to do something. By the way, the league releasing those emails, you think Roger Goodell just did that without getting the okay from his partners? They knew that there was. See, I talked to Russ Tucker today on my Russ Tucker from the Russ Tucker podcast. Does great work. I talked to him on my stream show today. He's like this. This story with Daniel Snyder was going away. Why did the NFL throw gasoline back on it again? Do they want to try to get Daniel Snyder out as owner of Washington? That's what we started thinking. Why did they rekindle this? Remember what happened to Jerry Richardson, the owner of the Carolina Panthers, a few years ago? Remember misconduct and sexual harassment inside the Carolina Panther organization? They took that team away from him and his family. Remember? Jerry Richardson was one of the most powerful men in the National Football League. They took that team away from him. Is that what they're doing here? Are they doing this? Because I don't believe Daniel Snyder would want these emails out. Because these are employees that worked for him and that were congregating and passing these emails around. By the way, there's a video that supposedly I talked to some former employees at ESPN that John Gruden was passing around a video of the topless cheerleaders and pictures of them to ESPN employees. Just saying here. And Daniel Snyder, in a court hearing, said he doesn't have recollection of that and said, I don't remember this, being involved in this. What did the NFL do? You know what the NFL did? They allowed him to buy out his minority shareholders. He now has complete control of the Washington team. That was a reward. The wife now supposedly, get this, she is in control of the team. Whatever you want to say to that. Now, I buy that for it what it is because Denise DeBartolo York is the owner of the 49ers. After they kicked Eddie D out, Eddie DeBartolo really doesn't have anything to do with the day-to-day operations of the 49ers. He has nothing to do with it. And he hasn't had anything to do with it for over 20 years. And it is Denise DeBartolo York. And New York's do run the team. So I'm going to give them the league the benefit of the doubt, I guess. But this has got to be to try to get Snyder out. It's got to be. Daniel Snyder has been like Chris O just said in my ear, he has been one of the absolute worst owners. And I'm talking perception-wise. And here's something else you have to understand. Bruce Allen and him were trying to get a new stadium built because they realized that stupid-ass stadium that they had built in Landover was a disaster. They needed to either fix up RFK or tear RFK down and build one right there, right in the heart of D.C. again. They went to Landover. Thing's been a flop. It's been a flop. I mean, you can get tickets. You can get tickets to watch a Washington team for like $50 during the season because the team sucks so bad. Nobody goes to those games anymore. It's got to be something around that, man. Got to be. To try to get Daniel Snyder out. Because why John Gruden? He's a pawn in this thing. All right, we'll reset. So many interesting games coming up this week. Big one tomorrow night. Bucks and Eagles. We'll reset. You keep it around the Cilio Show. Okay, be right back, okay? ESPN. I'm watching this. There's a movie on ESPN called "The Best That Never Was." It's a story of Marcus Dupree, and he was the greatest high school running back prospect in the history of college football. And when he got to Oklahoma, he was just a freak show. But there were so many bad forces around him. Unfortunately, he never lived up to what he could have been, and that's why it's dubbed that. And get this, man, he was best friends with Bull Connor. No shit, man. His son, he was best friends with Bull Connor's son. I was dead wrong on the Rays. I know. Did you see La Russa getting stupid at the end? Because they weren't throwing at his guys. Yeah, he wasn't going to jump up. He wasn't, no. Dan Sileo, USA Radio Network, welcome aboard with us, and thank you for stepping in here as you do each and every single night here on a Hump Day Wednesday. NFL football tomorrow night, baseball tomorrow night. The baseball's been pretty compelling, hasn't it? Here, this just in, too. Crouch you the ass, oh, Tony La Russa. Hey, you know who I am? Dude, really? Your guys got beat. Go sit down. Okay? Nobody was throwing at your guys. You think in a playoff right now where runs are a premium that anybody's trying to put anybody on base? Honestly, are you trying to think that somebody's trying to get into a fight or anything? Give me a break, guy. But La Russa being La Russa, okay? Isn't it crazy about that guy? Let me throw this at you here. And I've said this before to you, and forgive me if you've heard me say this. Tony La Russa has his own way of seeing things. See, personally, I like the guy, but I don't respect the guy. I don't know if that even makes sense. When asked the question before in the past on McGuire and Canseco and all the people that he had in his dugout when he was the manager of the A's. By the way, he's a Hall of Famer. You know that, right? Major League Baseball has voted him into the Hall of Fame. So he got put into the Hall of Fame on the back of steroid guys. It's facts. Okay? Facts. And when asked the question, hey, did you see anything freaky in that A's dugout? Or maybe when McGuire was in the Cardinal dugout? Did you see anything that was a little bit odd? Or did you just show up to work not thinking, well, when Jose Canseco first got called up by the A's, he was 205. One summer he comes back in 86, he's 255. Goes on a 30 for 30. 30 homers, 30 stolen bases. MVP that year. You didn't notice anything, right? Of course not. Why would you? Not important to you. Plus, we were winning. Bash Brothers. You didn't notice anything about Mark McGuire. Mark McGuire looked like he should have been playing for the Oakland Raiders, not the Oakland A's. I like Mark McGuire too. By the way, there's a redeeming quality about Canseco. If you got around him without the media, you might like him because he's a funny dude. Is he weird? Yeah, but Mark McGuire is a quiet person, folks. I really love being around. I had Mark on my show once. I really like Mark McGuire. I'm drawn to him. 49 home runs. He actually hit 50 his rookie year. And I really liked him. It was a rain out. That's why he didn't get the 50. But his rookie year, he hit 49 bombs. He was a thin kid, too, coming out of Southern Cal. He wasn't that menacing figure that you saw later on in his career. I mean, remember that ball he hit off of Randy Johnson? It hit the back wall of the old, dome in Seattle, the King Dome. Remember, it hit the back wall and bounced all the way out to center field because he hit the thing like 585. And it bounced off the wall and went on. He kept his head down because him and Randy Johnson were teammates at Southern Cal. Kept his head down. I said, did you ever look up? He goes, no, man. I thought he was going to put one between my eyes when next time he came to the plate. He's a good dude. But then you ask Tony La Russa questions about his guys. So maybe you didn't see the two biggest stars on your team were juicers. But then you had Terry Steinbach, Jeremy Giambi, Miguel Tejada. All those guys that were on the team, Jason Giambi, all those guys were juicing. You didn't notice your entire team belonged at a Gold's Gym. No, not me, man. Him and Sandy Alderson. Nope. Tony got in the Hall. Tony's in the Hall of Fame, but not one of those players will ever get in the Hall of Fame, including maybe one of the most menacing power hitters of all time, in McGuire. If anybody should be in the Hall of Fame, it should be Mark McGuire. I mean, when you talk about power hitting first baseman, who can you name? Garrick, Frank Thomas, Eddie Murray. Who else? What first baseman sticks out in your mind that was a feared power hitter like that? McGuire, man, I mean, he stopped people in their tracks. I got to watch this guy because it's going to be a strikeout or he's going to hit one 600 feet. Right? Yankees never really had any power hitting first baseman outside of Garrick. Red Sox, too. George Scott, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, he was kind of a good power hitter. But not really Eddie Murray, 500 home runs, 3,000 hits. Probably your best dual guy when it came to base hits and homers. But La Russa never saw any of that, right? I've always held that against him because you know he's lying. But yet the baseball writers put Tony La Russa in. Not one of those other guys will ever get into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Kind of ridiculous if you think about it. And he's just an old grouchy old dude now. And by the way, how does a guy survive a DUI? Or what is this? How many times is that for him? A DUI, he still keeps his gig. But if that's a player, he's suspended and most likely fired. Or, right? Got to go through rehab or got to go through the protocols of substance abuse. Not Tony. Hey, only make sure that hits the players and not the manager or any of the owners. Never got that. How does that guy survive that? And Ron Washington, who had a drug problem, doesn't. Ron Washington had a drug problem. He did. And now Ron's being considered for potentially being the Padre manager because of the connections with A.J. Preller, the general manager, and the Texas Rangers. And there's a shot that Ron may get that job. I know he's going to interview for it. But Ron's got a drug past. Hey, don't let that get in the way of Tony La Russa and all the issues he's had in his past when it comes to alcohol. White Sox hired that guy, no problem. He kept his gig all through that. Okay. I'm not trying to make it a race thing. I'm trying to make it a selective process thing. It's okay for La Russa, but it's not okay for Ron. Okay. See, I like standards to be set in stone for all. You know what I mean? That goes into like our society too and how the cancel culture does this here and then they don't like this guy here. They'll let Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel make it, but they'll cancel this person over here on this side. I like a set of rules. Hey, guy breaks the rules. it's got to be good for everyone, because then you lose credibility with everyone. You know what I mean? You lose credibility. What I'm trying to do here, I think it's like being a great coach. I don't know about you. If I have rules of my team and in my organization, and I have these set standards, don't beat women, don't kill animals, don't treat the elderly bad. You don't have to be the greatest guy on the planet, but those are 3 things you got to stand for, because you'll fall for something if you don't stand for anything. See, I would have set things in my organization. Like I just told you, those 3 things would be a priority to me. Don't do anything to the elderly. Don't do anything to women. Probably this would be probably pretty tough to keep, because you know why? We have so many guys with so many issues today. And some of the big superstars are guys that have issues with all of this. But I'm not going to tolerate anybody beating women or elderly or beating kids. I'm not going to have that. I'd rather have a lesser guy on my team than have you on my team. Because here's why. I don't want the other guys on my team to have to answer for your crappy ways. What, Dan, you know, he's in your locker room. I didn't put him there. And I hate doing that, because then you're turning your back on the guy. I've had that happen. Here, I'll give you for instance on it. My daughter always asks me this question. She's like this, you know, Dad, I hear you banging on people with alcohol issues, and you don't want these guys in your locker room. Yet you are friends with Michael Irvin and Warren Sapp and some of these guys. It's true. You forgive those guys, but you condemn those other guys. She catches me in a double standard. It's true. Sometimes when you love somebody so much, you don't have clarity. It's true. You'll come up with every form of reasoning to be friends with those people, and what they'll do is compromise your own integrity. I've had my integrity compromised because of my friends' actions. Do you know what? That's why I have very few friends, because I don't want to do that. There's certain things I stand for. I've stood for it because I was raised by elderly grandparents. If I see that, that's not working. I always do this too. Flat tire, elderly person, I'll go help them fix their tire. I'll push their car out of the intersection. I've done it a billion times. I've stood up in the middle of a train place. Here, man, we'd like my seat. Or in a bus place. I do that to this day, because I want everyone in the building to know I'm a man, and I'm going to let an elderly person sit down. I'm healthy. I can stand. Got to stand for something. I'm not trying to come off holier than thou. Okay, I'm not. You got to have something in your locker room that people can go to. Dude, Cilio's not going to tolerate that. He's just not. You could rob a bank. You'd probably be all right with it. Okay? You steal a car, dude. Okay, man? But you can't do that. You can't do that stuff, man. You could probably trash the flag. You could probably but he ain't going to tolerate doing any of this stuff. He's just not. You got to have that in a room. Got to have integrity somewhere. It's got to stand, man. That's why when people have been asking me, you know, about John Gruden, you can't have poor language like that in a locker room of 53 diverse men. You just can't. You see what they're doing tonight? Here's the latest. Madden is taking John Gruden's face off the game. They're going to superimpose someone else's face. Yesterday, the Buccaneers announced they were taking him out of the Ring of Honor in Tampa. Skechers, the shoe company, has canceled his contract. Is it right? For that kind of language? I don't know. I don't know. Has John Gruden been a champion in public for African Americans? Yeah, he helped elevate Doug Williams to a position with the Buccaneers as a director of VP personnel. And he put his name in to the Washington team for him to be an executive there. Was he ambushed? I believe he was. I believe he was. Was he rightfully fired? Yes. But all this other stuff that's now going on, I got to tell you something, too, about that Bucks thing, taking him out of the Ring of Honor. Also, hit on Baker Mayfield. We'll do it next. Yeah. I hear you. What? Oh, okay. Wow. Oh, yeah, everybody's great. Let me finish this email for a second. Hang on. Marie, so hope you are well. Thank you, Chris. Yep. Dan Sileo, USA Radio Network. I have become such a fan of Dak Prescott. I mean it. Look at what the influence he has done on the Cowboys this year. What's the difference between the Cowboys this year and last year? It's Dak's maturity. And I'm not suggesting in any way Dak didn't have maturity in the previous years as he was negotiating the contract. He showed great poise during the whole negotiations with Jerry and Steven and the Cowboys. He really did. I mean, he showed incredible character and patience. I wasn't saying it, but doesn't it seem when you watch him play today that his influence on the entire organization, the Cowboys did something, and I brought this up the other night. The Cowboys were so boring during Hard Knocks. That was a good thing because in theory, Dak's kind of boring. But in theory, that's a good way to go, man. You're not trying to be a drama queen. You're not trying to create storylines. Look at Aaron Rodgers. You know what's becoming very apparent to me? Aaron Rodgers loves drama. There's just a lot of drama around him. Maybe it's because he's more vocal than he's ever been. Dak doesn't comment on other players. He doesn't comment on the league. He doesn't comment on John Gruden. He doesn't comment on COVID. He doesn't comment on mask mandates. He doesn't comment on any of that stuff. You know what he comments on? His teammates. Man, we're running the ball great. Boy, Zeke looks like old Zeke. You see how and what kind of shape he's in? That's great. You see, Dak's got his bag of money. He's in a place of comfort now. And what I mean by that is, get this, he's got his FU money. Now he's got to go out there and build his legacy. And that's totally what he's doing. He's building his legacy. And he's doing it the right way. Like I told you this before. Hey, man, if I had to put down a game plan or a blue book or a playbook on how you come out of college and you turn yourself into a star player and a face of a franchise, Dak Prescott's name would be on the cover of my book. 4th round draft choice out of Mississippi State. I mean, nobody thought that he was going to be a franchise guy. You know, when you're a 4th round quarterback, you know what that necessarily means? You're a backup forever in the league. You're like a Chase Daniels kind of guy. You're a dude that's like Jason Garrett. You know what I mean? No disrespect to those guys. They had lengthy careers, way longer than mine. Not throwing shade on it. I'm just saying, you played 15 years and you never heard of a quarterback before in your life. He was pretty much a backup, but that's okay. I get it. That's usually what 4th and 5th and 6th rounders, including Brady. That's what you're drafted. Well, he'll be a good backup on the team. Nobody does this. Let me take that guy in the 6th round. Maybe he'll turn out to be something. Yeah, you know what you're hoping? You're hoping he turns out to be a good backup. I'll tell you a guy that's not a backup, though. This is Kyler Murray with the Arizona Cardinals, man. Undefeated. What a great story. Do me a favor. This goes out to our friends in the Phoenix area. The local Valley Hooters. Folks, so many great specials. And by the way, if you're a UFC fan, places are always packed. $3 Michelob Ultra Drafts. Great food specials. My God, the steamers are sensational, man. They really are. You're going to love it. It's one of the best places for draft parties. Arizona State. Got to get into any of your local Hooters there in the Valley area. I ranked the rookie quarterbacks in the NFL. We're going to hit on them next. A little more with John Gruden. We'll do it next. What is Mike Mayock trending for here?
first African-American head coach was Art Shell. The first female CEO was Amy Trask. Obviously, all of that was under Al Davis's watch. Now, this week, his son, Mark Davis, I think had a tough time. He had a tough week. He had to gather facts. He had to do his due diligence.
I'm sorry, again, your name? Oh, yeah. I know, it's weird. Jesus, burping and belching and sneezing in my ear. Can you be a little more professional? Okay. Why, was he being a tool? Really? I know. Dan Sileo, USA Radio Network, thank you for coming aboard with us here tonight. There's a statement tonight from Adam Schefter, ESPN. His name has been trending all day long on Twitter and all the social media platforms because he was involved in many of these emails between John Gruden and Bruce Allen. One of them, the Los Angeles Times reported tonight that he sent him a story and it basically said, Does anything need to be omitted, added? And could you please edit the story? I'm paraphrasing that part of it, but he was telling Bruce Allen, the president of the Washington team, to look over a story and see if it was factually correct. Now, does it borderline being, well, I think this, if you're calling yourself a journalist, it does. Okay? If you're calling yourself a media personality, which I think he is more today than he's ever been, I don't care. I don't care. But if you're a reporter like Katie Couric or a journalist, because she calls herself that, and you're omitting or you're deleting Ruth Bader Ginsburg's comments about Colin Kaepernick, that I do have a problem with, because you're masquerading yourself as factual and actual news. And it wasn't. You told the story, but you just didn't tell the whole story. And just to help you guys out in case you missed a couple segments ago, Katie Couric omitted a story, or part of a story, that she did an interview with a sitting United States Supreme Court Justice, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, when asked a question by Katie Couric if she thought that the Colin Kaepernick protesting and disrespecting the flag, did she think was in the right taste? She said absolutely not, it is in the right taste. This country was built around that flag. It's a symbol, just like, and you think about it too. The Nazi flag stands for what? Hatred, right? And an evil time in the world. The United States of America's flag stands for what? Freedom. Opportunity. Love for one's country. Symbols matter today. Or we wouldn't be taking down these statues. Or we wouldn't be talking about Columbus Day. Or we wouldn't be talking about, should we be celebrating this day or that day? This statue of Robert E. Lee seems to bug everybody, or some people, at least in this country. Why wouldn't burning the flag of the United States of America aggravate some people too? So Ruth Bader Ginsburg's completely against the Colin Kaepernick kneeling. But Katie Couric thought, because she is the pulse or the morality of our country, she thought it was best that she protect the sitting United States Supreme Court justice who makes decisions every single day on laws in our country, that she didn't want the backlash for her. That was her reasoning. Backlash. Ruth Bader Ginsburg rules on cases, or she did while she was alive, ruled on cases that she was going to be scrutinized for the next 200 years. All these Supreme Court justices and their work are constantly gone over, are constantly scrutinized, whether it be Thurgood Marshall, Antonin Scalia, Rehnquist. How many times have we looked at Supreme Court Justice Warren's report on the Kennedy assassination and dissected that thing? Single bullet theory. That guy was absolutely villainized for that report. We go back in history and go through all the justices' rulings. But Katie Couric, as a journalist, reporter, thought it was in the best interest to omit that. You don't think for me at all. That is an absolute, I have no respect for her now. She's just an op-ed person. She's got no more credibility than I do when I'm talking about a story. Because her story was half factual. And she made the story, and Chris O's right. All of her work now in the past, I don't know. Do you question it? Yeah. Was there a narrative in there that you kind of wanted Americans to see a certain side of it? Did you fudge it? Every reporter tries to get a little bit of sensationalism Hey, go back into the history, even Gatlin Rice, when he was writing about the Four Horsemen, through a September sky, he's writing all that stuff. Rode the apocalypse. They were known as famine. He wrote that. It was just wonderful the way he presented the Four Horsemen of Notre Dame as the Four Horsemen of the apocalypse. You saw these four guys coming. They put him on a horse. It was brilliant how he wrote it. But that's sensationalist journalism there. But he was telling you how he felt when he was watching that game and Notre Dame playing Army. These guys wrote in. And that's different than going, well, here, we're doing a story on a Supreme Court justice. Oh, by the way, her beliefs don't matter on this subject here. I'm going to omit that. She's no better than me. Okay? And like Chris O said too, she was the managing editor of CBS's Evening News. Maybe that puts into also question everyone else that's ever had that seat. Cronkite? I don't know. She hurts the profession when she does that. You understand that, right? Not me, because I've never professed myself as a journalist. I've never done that. Because you fall in this trap right here that she's in. Why would you even make that public in a book, too? So let me read that. And by the way, she's trending tonight. Because everybody is like, even people on the right and left are doing this. Really? I think more people probably are shocked that RBG was against Kaepernick. And nobody wanted to give Trump a merit badge because even their champion was against him. Oh, my God. He sides with Trump on something. She sides with Trump. Good night almighty. Yeah, right. Right? Well, let me read this Adam Schefter statement tonight because his name has been brought up in these Gruden emails. Fair question are being asked about my reporting approach on a lockout story from 10 years ago. Already I know it's skewed to be that he's got excuses. I'm not saying that Adam Schefter has to apologize, but the first sentence is a backdoor. 10 years ago, well, if your email and your story from 10 years ago doesn't matter, John Gruden's emails don't matter from 10 years ago. Just to clarify, it's a common practice to verify facts of a story with sources before you publish in order to be as accurate as possible. And in this case, I took the rare step of sending the full story in advance because of the complex nature. This is the same guy who tweeted out Jason Pierre-Paul's medical examination records and his health records on a tweet when they were talking what happened to Jason Pierre-Paul. Remember the story? He blew his hand up. ESPN was fined, and he was fined. ESPN was fined $500,000 for that. He broke HIPAA laws. He put out on a tweet a person's private medical history records that he got his hands on. This is the same guy who did this. And he expects me to believe this. Before we publish in order to accurately be as accurate as possible. I took the rare step of sending a full story in advance because of the complex nature of the collective bargaining talks. It was a step too far looking back. I shouldn't have done it. Well, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 lines in. I shouldn't have done it. The criticism being levied is fair. With that said, I want to make it perfectly clear. In no way did I or would I cede editorial control or hand over a final say about a story to anyone. Ever. Adam Schefter. What a pathetic statement. What a pathetic statement. So wait a minute. Am I under the belief that Bruce Allen and you never talked about any other stories like relocation, trades, people that were potentially going to be moved? How about stories inside the Washington organization? They were under investigation by the NFL. So I'm to believe that nothing else was ever talked about by you and Bruce Allen and John Gruden. Come on, man. See, this is the media right here, folks, thinking that you're stupid. This is the media here believing. And by the way, Adam Schefter's not the only one that does this. Okay? All media people think you're dumb. They think they're know-it-alls. You understand that? They're know-it-alls. And most of these people aren't qualified to put seeds in the front lawn of your house to grow your grass. But they come off because, you know what happens? You get a little success. You start making a little money. You start seeing things move for you. You start to believe the hype. You start to believe your press clippings. You start to read your press clippings. Before you know it, you're a narcissist. Trust me. You think you could say anything. That's what happened to John Gruden. For John Gruden to continue to talk like that, why do you think John Gruden talked like that? He had FU money. He has FU money. He's built this aura about himself through TV. He's a pretty good coach. I wouldn't say great. He's won a Super Bowl. Why wouldn't you think that you could say or get away with anything when you continue to say and act the way you have for over, 20 years? Just what we're seeing here. What, you think John Gruden hasn't talked like this all the way up until yesterday? But I'm to believe, and Adam Schefter wants you to believe, he's never done anything unscrupulous. Jesus criminy. When are these people going to learn Americans are onto you now? Katie Couric showed you tonight. Who do you think has more integrity in the world of journalism, Katie Couric or Adam Schefter? Katie Couric, right? She manipulated a story. Adam Schefter's trying to tell you he's never done it before. Chris is right. These people's work are all now being questioned. At least you give Don Lemon and you give people like Chris Cuomo this. Hey, you may not believe him, but at least it's opinion. And they tell you it's opinion. Same thing with Tucker or Hannity or Laura Ingraham. And again, I'm not telling you to like any of these guys. All I am telling you is at least they come out at the top of the show going, here's my opinion. These people come off like, see what he's trying to do? Adam Schefter tonight is trying to protect his journalistic integrity when he doesn't realize he has none. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to let you know, hey, wait a minute, I'm still trustworthy. When Americans are looking at him going, no, you're not. It's not lining up what the LA Times is saying about what you did. For the record, is it a big deal? Get this. Remember what's that line we always say, Chris? Covering the lie is always worse than the lie. You know, it's always worse than the lie. Just makes no sense. Just really, it doesn't. Hey, do me a favor, folks. Make sure you get over to podcasterwarehouse.com. 25% off of everything that's on the website. Use the promo code SILEO. S as in Sam, ILEO. Shipping is free. Microphones, processors, everything, and anything that you need. $5 to $5,000 you can spend. Just do me a favor. Tell them Cilio sent you. Go over to podcasterwarehouse.com. That's podcasterwarehouse.com. I do want to hit on Tom Brady playing tomorrow night versus the Eagles. We'll hit on it next. Adam Schefter tweets out Jason Pierre-Paul's medical health records. Yeah, no, nothing. Thank you, honey. Turn all. I don't even know who that guy is. Jason Pierre-Paul's Twitter. Oh, JP. Journalistic.
Here's the definition of journalistic. Relating to journalists or journalism.
Dan Cilio, USA Radio Network. I really shake my head at the business that I'm in today. I guess you have to be a liar to be in today's business, or really a great one. Or I don't know, man. It just doesn't make sense. You know, when I first got into business, I told fibs and I stretched the truth because I was trying to be sensationalistic and I was trying to do all that stuff. Now I do less of that. And it's funny, everyone's kind of doing the reverse of like when I got into to me, the people that are like getting ahead today are the people that acted like me 27 years ago. No sources, no anything, doesn't matter. The other night, Chris did something, because Chris is old school. Chris, oh, my guy. I said, Gruden just resigned. Are you sure? Who's telling you? Because, again, you know, you want to be factual and you want to be correct. Duh. Bank. Right? And I said, no, I got it from somebody. And I told him I got it from Amy Trask. Amy goes, she just texted me. Gruden resigned. Amy Trask was the CEO and president of the Raiders for 30 years. I think she's a good source. And so she told me. And I was like, wow. And all of a sudden, everybody started following right after what we were saying. I think we had to be, right, Chris, one of the first people to post that out there that Gruden had resigned. Yeah. And Fox Sports. Then Fox News and all the news sources started popping up saying it. And Chris goes, Fox News has it on their website. And then within a matter of probably, 8 minutes, ESPN had it on their front page. Yeah. Oh, they were definitely, because they were making sure that they were telling their people that, hey, don't say anything right now. Make sure, because ESPN is in these emails. Man, it's a crazy story. It really has been. I'll tell you, I can't wait for it tomorrow night. Tom Brady's back on the field, and he's going to be at Lincoln Financial in Philadelphia. He's going to be taking on Jalen Hurts. Isn't Tom Brady everything that's great with sports? Guy that wasn't expected to do anything. Leader of men. Face of a franchise. Beautiful wife. When I grow up one day, I want to be Tom Brady, man. This guy has what I do. What don't you like? What don't you like about him? Oh, yeah. When I grow up, because I've never grown up, but when I grow up, I want to be that guy. Can I have a model like Giselle? Can I have like 7 Super Bowl rings? Can I have an unbelievable career? Can I have the admiration of everyone in the league? By the way, have you ever heard a teammate talk trash on Brady ever? In his 21 years, I've never heard a person. How about this? People in our business trash me. People, I'm sure, in your business out there that you're listening to us right now will trash you. Not everybody likes you. I've never heard anybody say anything negative about Tom Brady. Ever. What's funny is the only people that I've ever heard say anything negative about Tom Brady was the NFL. And he's constantly proving them wrong. He was whose? Yeah, he was his least favorite. I mean, he tried to give the job to Drew Henson. All the time he tried to give that job to Drew Henson. Drew Henson was the big star going into Michigan. That was the guy, the Yankee prospect. He bombed as a Yankee. And when they brought him in as a quarterback, Drew Henson was Lloyd Carr's favorite. He was going to be the guy that was going to be the face of the Michigan program. And it just so happens that every time they put Tom Brady in, he would take Michigan out of like all kinds of issues, and they would go on and win games. Finally, they gave him the start, and he wins an Orange Bowl. And you know what that got him? Congratulations, 199th pick in the draft. And it pissed him off so much, he would take that and put that lumberyard on his shoulder. And that's why Brady hates 2 things. I tweeted this out. You know what he hates? Losing, and that he was drafted 199th. And get this. Yeah, but he can't. Every draft year, what does he do? He posts a picture of that draft of him standing there with that fat gut, no body, and everyone saying he put 199 on it too. Tells all the rookies, don't worry about it. Love it. Hey, we'll reset. Keep it right here on the Dan Sileo Show. What? Oh yeah, your takes. That's right. The trash out. Yeah, let me get those out. No, son. I do that on Monday night. Yeah, you're a little late, dude. Hey, dude, I love you, man. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Love you guys, man.